Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're just hitting the top of the hour, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar. I see people already that are still filing into the room, so we'll give them just a moment to join us and get caught up. But in the meantime, today we will be doing a power users tour of SnailWorks, and I'm glad you were all able to join us. I have with me today Dave Lewis, power user extraordinaire, and he'll be leading the first part of our presentation. I've had a couple of questions so far. And the first is, yes, we are recording today's presentation. You should have seen a little message go across your screen alerting you to that. And I'll be sure to get a link out to the recording sometime next week. Along those lines, we also will be taking your questions. We'll take those at the end of the presentation. So if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the Q&A box of Zoom. And like I say, we'll gather those together. And at the end, we'll spend a little bit of time doing some Q&A. And that pretty much covers all of our announcements. So Dave, would you like to go ahead and get us started?
I would, and good afternoon to everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We thought we'd do it a little different since Karen and I are both presenting. We'd let you see our smiling faces while we talk, so you can see we don't really do this in our pajamas. So today we are doing a power users tour. We've done this before. It's different each time because SnailWorks is changing all the time, but we really want to walk through some of the features. I'm going to do it at my usual high level, crayon level, and then we'll let Karen take over with some of the more the real power user stuff that'll help you get the most. And our objective in all this is just help you get the most out of SnailWorks, to show you how we use it, how some of our users use it, and some of the new features we have as well as we're going through, including one we're still kind of in alpha, if you will, not even quite beta yet, but we can kind of show you how that's going to work too. So that said, let me, as always, I'll introduce what we do a little bit, which is that we take postal service programs, their most advanced ones, we like to think, and we make them easy to use. We add value and help our customers have access to those. The primary services we have mail tracking, of course, and this is our bread and butter, if you will. We've tracked billions of pieces of mail a year. Informed delivery advertising during the promotion. This has been really big for us, helping our customers participate in informed delivery and in the informed delivery promotion. Digital marketing support, and that's wow, I got too many P's in there. That's but that's and actually we're going to talk about this some today. Usually we don't a lot, but this involves QR codes, pearls, landing pages, all this kind of stuff. Ties into mail, but outside of mail a little bit, helping mail tie into digital channels. And finally, political mail tracking, and there's a variation on mail tracking. We're winding down on that now. I think the election happened already, didn't it, Karen? So therefore, I really knew that. I'm kidding. That's again a little bit specialized into the election market. So that's it. That's what we do. That's who we are. And so let's talk about what we're going to be covering today. Most of this today is not going to be PowerPoint. We'll be live on the web, and that's always an adventure for us. You just never know what's going to happen. But we always have, just like mailers blame the Postal Service, we blame Zoom if there's any issues that come up. Karen, I can see you make faces today, so you have to be careful. So I'm going to walk through the SnailWorks site a little bit to some of the basics. I want to touch on analytics. Again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on any of this, just kind of show you how we use it. And we're going to go in and mining through some tracking reports, geographic reports, how to get single piece analyses, or how we look at that. Performance reports, inbound tracking, ACS, and ID. So that's kind of the areas that we touch on in our mail tracking product. Then I'll turn it over to Karen, who is going to cover scheduled reports, undocumented mail support. This is a kind of, it's not a new product for us, but it's important, and not enough people use it, I don't think. Another product that probably not enough people use, that Karen will go into some detail on, is ACS, address change service, and tracking QR codes. This is something that is relatively new to us. It's a really cool, easy way to track and link mail into the online marketing. So I think you'll enjoy that part of it. And so that said, I'm going to go ahead and as soon as I work out how to do it, I'm going to dive into the web. And let me see. I don't think you're seeing that, are you, Karen?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. You see, oh, there she is. Okay, yes, there's the website. Okay, I've never. Sorry about the unsmooth transition there. So this, of course, is the SnailWorks website. And before we even get in, I always do like to show, because this is something that we're really proud of. At SnailWorks, we always look at ourselves as an educational organization in addition to mail tracking. And we have a lot of great resources on our website. We have white papers and webinars and all kinds of things that we've done that are about a lot of postal topics. Most of them revolve around mail tracking or the products that or informed delivery, but we have newsletters that you can get here. Karen does a series of tutorials if you're a customer and want to know how to add a user or do things like, a lot of different technical steps that we're going to touch on today. You can get those there. So you don't even need to log in to see those. And I just think I always like to point that out because I'm not sure, I don't know if a lot of people know all those resources are there, but now you do. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and log in then, and this is into a special demo account we've set up. And so this is how it looks. And again, I'm assuming most of the people on here, since this is power users, I'm going to grant you some level of knowledge. So I'll try to keep it at we're not explaining things you probably already know. So this would be the list of clients we have. Obviously, we sort of make them up for this. The other thing I do want to show from this view, because all of our clients have this, is down here. We're going to be using this some. We have a demo account that you have access to. So the same things we're going to be looking at in that demo account, you could do to show your customers how this stuff works too. And if you want to try to market mail tracking or SnailWorks services to them. But the account we're going into now, you don't have. This is some special jobs we set up today so we can sort of demonstrate some of the features and how to use SnailWorks to your best ability. We will not be talking a lot about how to create jobs, and maybe we'll do that in another session. But today we're really looking at working with the data and working with the results that you have. Again, this is a list of jobs under the demonstration account. These are all single version jobs. You don't see any pluses here that would indicate versions. And then again, the job names we made up, it's an outgoing tracking, except for that one little I there. So we have one inbound tracking job we're going to show you. First class, standard, reply mail. So this class is what class of mail it is. These are all letters. If it said F, it would be a flat. And for first class cards, it could be a C for cards too. Do they have ACS in use, and do they have informed delivery campaigns associated with them? And the jobs we're looking at first don't, but we are going to show you some jobs that have those. And of course, how many pieces were in the mailing and what percentage of it got tracked. Obviously, this one at the bottom, this inbound's a little different, but we'll show you how that works. So to start with, I'm going to go ahead and pop into the November gift card job. And let me see. So this is the opening view that we have set up on this account, which is the report by date. So this just shows how many pieces were delivered each day after this was mailed. You can see the basic information about the job up here. How many pieces it was, how many pieces we tracked to delivery, what the drop date was. When we show a drop date here, that's the drop date that the customer gives us. So and different people have different definitions. So always be careful about drop date. We don't define that, our customers do. So this is a view that you can select what your customers are going to see when they log in. We've selected this view. And again, down here is just numeric. The same things that are represented up here graphically are numerically charted down here. And so you can open with this view. But if you're doing national mailings, you may want to, and this view, by the way, is great, especially if you're doing local mailings, because to look at a map of the United States and see one state in green is kind of silly. And seeds can make it kind of funny too. But you do have the option, if you're doing a national mailing, not like that, by US map, there we go. Okay, you can show a view by map, and that'll show the different shadings in here. Will indicate what percentage of the mail has been delivered. I don't mean to pop around as fast as I did there. So you can see Tennessee, it's a nice dark green, got good delivery there. And up in Wyoming, there was only 13 pieces going there, 9 of them got tracked, so it shows as a low percentage. So if you have nationwide mailings, this may be the way to do that. You can change these settings as a user. In your user settings, you can pick what report you want to come first. And I think there's a couple other options as well as these, but these are the two most common, which is the view by date and the US map as an introduction. Some other options you have, what we're looking at right now is delivery date. In other words, this is 89.58% of this mail got tracked to delivery. That's the views we're seeing. If we drill in the dates, we're going to see our delivery dates. But we also have the option. So look, it's 89% of it is delivered. Did it all get mailed? We can look at first scan, and this is any piece that got any scan. And in this case, we have 100% first scan. So this documents that the whole mailing has been sent. So the reason that some of it isn't there is not necessarily related to it got mail, it just hasn't been delivered yet. And we'll dig into these to see if we can figure out why to some extent. So let me see, I'm going to go ahead and select a different view and kind of show the views we have. We have some of these we'll go into, but we have geographic lookups. This is where you can view by a map, you can view by state, NDCs. These will be changing as the year goes on. Some of our customers have give us mail.dat information or pallet information, container information, and we can they can view by containers. And if you're interested in that, then you can always give your project manager a holler. We can explain how to do that and add a little robustness, especially if you're drop shipping to different sites around the country. Informed delivery reporting is in here, inbound tracking details. ACS, we're going to be going into all of these as we go through this a little. We're not all, but most of them. The on-time performance measures how your mailing is doing versus your targeted in-home date, and then some seamless reporting that and tracking pearls, and those are things that Karen will be covering in the second half of today's presentation. So right now I'm going to go to view by state, and this is kind of how I like to look at jobs. And so in this case, these are the states that are listed down here. We've got some funny ones, AE and things like that. We have Guam and military addresses and things like that. They're tough to track as they go through, but they are in there. And then as we go across the page here, you can see how many pieces dropped or delivered. I'm sorry, on each of these dates, because we are looking at delivery date up here. And so let me see, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to a state I'm familiar with because and that's Maryland, which is where I live. And so we'll click Maryland. And when we do that, of course, we get the listing of the 3-digit zip areas within Maryland that we mailed to. There might be another one that's not shown here, but that if we don't have any mail going there. And then I'm going to go down to 217, which is the Frederick area, which is where SnailWorks is. And so now we've drilled down to the 5-digit zips and how many pieces I've got to each 5-digit. And then I can drill down a little bit further. I'm going to go to 21701. And so this shows the 3 pieces that were delivered there. We can see when the first scan occurred, when they were delivered. One of the features we've added is when you're looking at this view now, if you've looked at this in the past, we didn't have a name here. Now we have at the name of the person. So if you're looking for somebody, if you're looking for Melanie in this case, her name will be listed there. So you can go look at her record. So if Melanie says she didn't get her mail piece, we can go ahead and click on that. And this is so a lot of information on this page just about Melanie's piece. This shows that it was mailed or it was inducted into Hartford on the 28th of October and went through sortation in Hartford, then got transported to Baltimore. These are all really nice scan coverage on this. And sequence for delivery in the evening of the 30th, so delivered on Halloween. And 517 is that scan. So we can kind of see activity of where things traveled, where things got held up, or may have. Down here, we can see the container scans for this piece. So this container just got 1 scan that occurred in Hartford, so it was an acceptance scan. We can see tray scans down here. Again, a tray got scanned in Hartford, and again, a relatively small number of pieces going here, so there's probably only 1 tray involved in this. And then this is really an assumed actual, so that's what just reported off the tray scan. But I mean, you can see all this detailed information on containers and trays. In fact, I'm going to look at another state here because Maryland's kind of easy. So I'm going on at a limb. We're going to look at California because California had some slow pieces. Let's see if we can figure out why they were slow. And so this one didn't get delivered. We had a piece here not delivered until the 9th, and this was a 9:05 in California, which is Torrance apparently. And it looks like this piece, this one right here in Torrance, California, had a piece that was delivered pretty late. And so let me see, here it is right here. A couple interesting things to look at here. One is let's look at the piece that got delivered on November 9th and see if we can figure out why. So this one, again, it went in through Hartford to Torrance, then it got delivered. Then this 052 means it went back into the system. And that happens. So this might have been the person might have not lived there anymore. It's a lot of reasons for that. So this did get to California and bounced around a little bit in California before it got delivered. Now, if there's a lot of mail like this, then we'll try to drill in and find the reasons, but it's kind of interesting to see that. Then we have one here that didn't get delivered at all. We've got a first scan, we don't have a delivery date. So let's take a look at that. And in this case, we have address change processing, and that's interesting. This is, and I will show you a report that's based on this. Address change processing means that the carrier pulled this out and didn't. It shows that he or she delivered it, but they really didn't. That's kind of a little fluke there. So it shows it's delivered here, but actually it went back into address change processing, which means that it was undeliverable as addressed. If they're doing ACS, if you're doing ACS on a job, you can find out exactly what that reason was. Now, there's a different way to get at this also. Now, we drilled down to get to this, but if Day Choi wanted to know, called and said they wanted to know what's going on with their job, we also have a mail piece lookup, well worth knowing about. We'll just use the last name. I think this job has it by last name. Sometimes you need to use the full name. And so here, there were a lot of choices in this. So let me see if I can find there they are right there. So we can click on that. We're going to get back to that same thing, and we can show that it was undeliverable as addressed. So there's multiple ways to look that up. A lot of power in this. And again, this is kind of this path that the mail piece follows is what we use to track these things as they go through the system. And then you see, I'm going to go ahead and go back into the demonstration account. And this really shows up best on this one. I want to show a new report that we're developing. Again, this is something really cool for power users. So this is a little bit different job, and Karen's going to be digging into this a little bit more during her presentation. But so this one, we see that 98.5% was delivered. That's pretty good, but it was not 100. And a lot of times people say, well, ask why that is. So the new report we're adding, and this is very much in beta right now, or in testing, so it's not quite ready for prime time, is this not tracked to delivery. So these are pieces that we didn't track to delivery. And so let me see what we got here. So we mailed 29,000 pieces. 439 weren't tracked to delivery, but they all got at least one scan, and that's worth knowing. So there's not, these aren't pieces that didn't get into the system and never got tracked. So they all got one scan. That's helpful. And then finally, this last category, this last column here shows a number of pieces that hit PARS, which is the is address change processing. So when we see that, that means it was probably undeliverable as addressed. That's probably why it went there. And I think this is working right now. And go ahead and click on that. We can find out who those people are. So you'd be able to download this report and correct your list, take them out of your list if they're undeliverable as addressed, or process them as you like. But it can be helpful sometimes to get a sense of why it didn't get delivered. And so that's one of, it's got one scan, it got no scans. And again, you can dig into individual pieces and try to find that out as well. And you can pull this report while the job is running. Once it's published, we're still in not quite beta yet either. We're really in alpha on that one. So see, one other thing I do want to show. Let me just go back up to here, is I do want to go into the, oh, nope, I still another thing I want to show here first, which is inbound tracking. So this is kind of cool. And this, in this case, this customer puts a trackable barcode on the business reply envelopes. It's one IMB for all of their inbound. It doesn't change during the course of a year. And during their fiscal year 23 is when they ran this. And what this is showing is you can see up here now it's unique piece IDs. So the system is looking at the unique piece ID generated by the Postal Service. And what this really does is just show how many responses you're getting on a daily basis. And I said you can use the same envelope over and over again. You can see in this case, and they started this back in April, and it went up and down because as they sent different waves out, these are renewals, and I believe. So they just wanted to see generally how their responses were, and it goes on for 3 pages. So there's a lot of data in here. This is for measuring response. It's an instant snapshot on response. You can also set these up so a project or an envelope, all the pieces in each split or each job itself have their own. So you're not looking at a whole range like this, but I find this a very useful report. And again, a lot of our clients, a lot of our nonprofits and fundraisers, especially, they don't have to wait on paging operations to tell them what their response rate is. They can see their response rate instantly by looking at it. Now, the 1.5 million here is an estimate that they gave what they're going to mail during the course of the year. So in this case, the percentage of response is not really as meaningful as looking at the numbers, so they can anticipate what response they're getting. So that said, now I'm going to go to the demo account that our clients do have access to. And we got a couple of jobs in here. And again, I've shown you most of the features, just a couple of other things I do want to add. And again, most of our customers probably know this because a lot of them use it, but we do have, you can add splits to a job. So if you have splits, we can accommodate that. And you can look at reporting by each split individually, or you can roll them up and just look at all the splits together. And really kind of a nice feature. So if you want to, especially if you have one split that's got low delivery percentages or taking a long time to deliver, it's nice to be able to isolate that and look at that. We can also see on this job, we had it's first class, it's cards. I said there was cards in there, outbound tracking. And then they did use ACS on this, and they did use informed delivery on this. I'm just going to go ahead and look at the whole job together here. By the way, this just makes our system crazy. Somebody who jumps around it like this. So we'll just wait a second. That darn Zoom, Karen. It's okay. There we go. Look at that. So
Dave, you're looking at this by unique piece ID rather than
there
delivery.
we go. Okay. Thank you. I didn't switch it back to that. So let me go back here. Try this again. Yeah, I may have hopelessly gummed up the system now, Karen. That's why it's always exciting doing live demos. So I'm going to change this back to delivery date. There we go. That's the green I love to see of all this mail has been delivered. And just a couple of things I want to show in this before I finally let Karen run with this, which is informed delivery and a little bit about ACS. So if I look at, I'm going to look at the view by state. So this is a listing of the states. And again, we have the dates, everything was delivered, but we have some new columns that have populated now, which is informed delivery. And this shows that, so this job did have an informed delivery campaign associated with it. And we can see again by state, if I drill down by 3-digit or 5-digit or whatever, how many of those pieces were how many of those recipients were informed delivery subscribers, and how many of them got an informed delivery email, because not everybody subscribed to the email, but usually it's a pretty good rate. So that said, let's go ahead. The other thing that we can do though, is I can go here, and one of the reports we can pull down is an informed delivery summary. And so this is the informed delivery summary. These are the 4 splits that are listed out here. And we can see how many pieces were in each split, how many of those were subscribers, what percentage that was. And I'll point out, this job was back in 1920. No, 2020. It wasn't 1920 because these barcodes wouldn't have worked at all back then. Sorry, I was going down memory lane there. So the numbers are generally higher these days, but either way, you can see how many subscribers were, how many emails were sent, how many emails were opened, and so on and so forth. By the way, most of this stuff you can sort, because this is .NET, you can sort by percentages and other things like that. And finally, from this, I can go to the campaign detail page, and this will show me, individually who those subscribers were. Now, they all, in this case, were John Q. Sample, who was very involved with his informed delivery, apparently. But this will give you a listing by client. We match back to the serial number that's in the barcode. So you can identify who are the people that have multiple emails, for example. Multiple emails generally mean that more than one subscriber lives in the house. So some of our users treat that as a multi-buyer. So there's a lot of different information you can download here and marry into your house files and things like that. And finally, a final thing I want to show here. And again, Karen's going to go into a lot more detail, but within this client did use ACS, a great feature. And so we have a lot of ACS information here. So we can look at the COA. These are the pieces where there was a change of address sent. So it's got in this case, it's all me. John Q. Sample became me. And, but this kind of shows where the original address mailed to and the new address. And this is just, in this case, since I just picked COA, we're just seeing the ones that have a forwarding address. We could also look at Nixies that would just say they didn't get delivered. And so there's a lot of power within this. So that's, and Karen's going to go into some detail about how to use this and how to put this to use to download this. Looking at it on a screen like this isn't particularly valuable, I don't think, unless it's a very small job. But having that capability to improve your list is one of the things that's built right into SnailWorks. And we would certainly encourage everybody to use it. If you're going to be a power user, you should be doing that ACS. Karen, before I turn it over to you, anything in this view you think in this perspective that I didn't get to here?
If you could go back to one of the view by dates or something, we have a user asking about the shaded columns, the shaded yellow columns.
Excellent point. And I think we have it. Let's view by date. Yes, the yellow here. This is the shaded columns are where the customer has specified a targeted in-home date. When you create the job, you can target your in-home dates and they'll light up as yellow here. And we also do have reports from that. We have a performance report that shows how much of the mail was on time by the customer measure. So in this case, 99,000 were on time, 2,500 were late. So that you can see that there as well. So there is, if you have critical in-home dates, a lot of times this time of year, when there's sales going on and Black Friday's coming and things like that, those targeted in-home dates are very important, and it makes it very evident if your mail is if you're meeting your goals on that, or if there how the issues work. So that said, I think we're going to go ahead. Karen, you ready?
I am.
Okay, so let me go back to this. And Karen, so there you go. And we're going to take questions at the end. So I know I talk fast. We'll have plenty of time to answer questions at the end. So Karen, it's all yours.
Thank you, Dave. As Dave intimated, I will be speaking on 4 different topics. We'll talk a little bit about scheduled reports and how to generate those. I'll be showing you the undocumented mail tool that SnailWorks offers. Talk a little bit about ACS, the reason to participate in ACS, and how our reporting can support you and your clients' efforts. And then finally, our latest product, tracking QR codes. So scheduled reports are really a powerful tool. They enable you to decide in advance what reports you want to receive and at what cadence. The reports are branded with your logo, assuming you have a branded site with SnailWorks. So it makes it real nice for sharing with clients or colleagues. They'll see who's doing the work, with your logo being there. It's a really good reminder. Some of our mail service providers, I hear, don't even provide login credentials to their clients. They just push these reports out to them at a cadence that's already been agreed upon. And I'll be showing you how to set up one of these reports. And actually, this is a sneak peek of the report that we'll be looking at. It's a daily delivery report. It's one of my pet reports. It gives you a laundry list of all of your active jobs by name. Then you'll see what the drop date was, what the targeted in-home date range was. This is the SnailWorks job number and split number, because it does report each split individually. You'll see the number of pieces that were mailed along with the what was delivered on that particular day. So that first one was 1,804 pieces were delivered today, giving you a cumulative total of 4,526 that have been delivered to date, along with the percentages and the number of days and all of this sort of stuff. And I'll explain a little bit how this data is typically used when we go in and generate it. Our undocumented mail tool is really useful for people participating in seamless acceptance. And I believe most of the participants today are either already active in seamless or they're in the test mode. And if that's the case, you probably have some nervous days wondering what your scorecard's going to look like at the end of the month, and if you're going to be hit with any undocumented mail assessments. And this tool will help you dig into that. This is a service that is not enabled automatically in your account. You'll work with a SnailWorks representative to get it set up. And essentially, what our reps will do when they work with you, the first step is you'll want to start receiving your mail quality data from the post office on a regular basis. Reason being, that data is only retained by postal for a certain number of days. By the time you receive your assessment, those days have probably elapsed and you won't be able to gain access to that data. But if you've been receiving it regularly and you're storing it on your servers, then should you be assessed, it's simply a matter of pulling up those files, uploading them to SnailWorks, and then what we'll do is we'll identify those pieces of mail for you, give you some information. Why don't we go ahead and move on to the next slide, Dave?
Yeah.
So this is one of the summary reports that you can get, and it simply summarizes how many records were in the file that you uploaded and what kind of matches we were able to achieve, the date ranges and all of that. But the most useful report is on the next slide. And this is the detail report. Realize when postal hits you with an assessment, really all they give you are the IMBs that pushed you over the threshold. So we take those IMBs, and assuming you tracked those pieces of mail, we'll run it against all of the jobs in your account. And where we're able to make a match, we'll then report back to you this report, and it'll show you the job that it was associated to, because postal's not going to tell you that. They don't know. It's undocumented as far as they're concerned. And then we'll be able to give you what scan history we have on the mail piece. If there's an EDOC that we're able to find, we'll go ahead and give you that EDOC number as well. You'll be able to download that by clicking the little download button in the far right hand area. And then you can use this file to put together a little bit of research going back to your job, determining how you paid the postage and whether you actually did indeed document this mail. And between this report and what you have on your end with postal records, you'll be able to put together an appeal that should be successful, assuming you did indeed document this mail. So this is a real powerful tool. And again, you do need to work with your SnailWorks rep they'll help you get this all set up and show you how to use it. And I will show you where these reports live when we go live on the web. So ACS, and I know I can hear you guys groaning in the background already. You're saying I CAS certify my files, I NCOA everything before I mail. Do I really need to ACS? Yes, you really do need to participate in ACS. Realize all CAS does is certify that the mailing addresses that you're sending to are indeed valid USPS addresses. Now, yes, NCOA, when you run your file against that, NCOA will knock your file against the listing of address change cards that they're holding. But not everybody's a good citizen and fills out one of those cards when they move. Lots of people move without telling the post office. And also those cards are only kept on file for a certain length of time. So if you've got a little bit of an older file, NCOA will not identify those. ACS is built on a lot of field knowledge and other knowledge that the post office has. It's a more extensive database. And so any pieces of mail that they can't deliver, if they are part of the ACS system, they'll run it through and obtain those updated addresses for you. We typically find that clients who who are participating, they're doing good NCOAs and CASs on their files. If they add ACS to the equation, they typically will still get somewhere between maybe 2 and 5% ACS hits, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of additional address information. But I had a client put this into perspective for us not long ago. They looked back over the millions of pieces of mail that they sent out the previous year, and they were getting roughly maybe 2% ACS hits on their jobs, and they realized that they had spent $80,000 on mail that was never delivered to recipients. And I don't care what the size of your marketing budget is, that's a huge hit. So if you can remove those pieces of mail that will never be delivered, or better yet, get updated addresses for those that you can, those are people who will receive the mail piece in subsequent mailings and actually have an opportunity to respond to your client's mailing. And that's naturally going to lift both response rates and the return on their direct mail budget. And that's really bringing additional value to the mail and making the mail much more valuable. So the next slide tells us a little bit about how to get rolling with this. ACS is a value-added service with SnailWorks, and that's a fancy way of my saying, yes, we are going to charge a nominal fee for helping you with this, but it's a very nominal. You'll contact your account rep. They will help you get it all set up. If you have an ACS account already, they'll coordinate getting that data from the post office. If not a big deal. We can help you get your ACS account set up. It's very painless. It's very easy. And then we'll walk you through the process of choosing what endorsement you want to put on the face of the envelope if one's necessary. We'll also help you figure out what service type ID you want to use. The post office offers a couple of dozen options between various classes of mail and different levels of ACS services that they offer. We want to make sure that you receive the results that you're anticipating. So we really will work hand in hand with you to formulate that plan. And then finally, part of that plan formulation is going to be accessing the data and making some determinations about what records you're going to update or remove from master files. And then the last item that we'll be talking about is this exciting new product that we have, QR codes for direct mail, or we call them tracking URLs. It's a silly, simple product. We take your mail tracking file, we add a unique URL to each record on that file and give it to you. You're able to print a QR code that recipients can scan and visit your client's website. And the next slide shows us a little bit about how to go about that. You upload your mail tracking file just like you do today. Then you log into SnailWorks, you navigate to your tracking job, and I'll show you this when we go online. And you then just enter your targeted URL that you want to be used in building the pearls, click proceed, and then you get a link that allows you to download the same file that you shared with us, but with the tracking pearls appended. And we actually give you 3 different values so that if you want to use one maybe as a printed pearl, another in an email, and then the last one is formatted for you to print with a QR code font onto your mail piece. And next slide. So you can see an example here. There's the mail piece with the QR code printed on it. The recipient gets it, they scan the code, and they land on your client's web page. And the neat thing is that this point in time, we're capturing that activity. Not only do we know that this web visit was as a result of this mail piece, generating some attribution, we're also going to know who that person is visiting. And I'll show you how to download a file of those. So, you know, the mail owner, they can create some sort of a sales funnel going. Anybody who visits the website, they can do a follow-up mailing to, or maybe send them an email or whatever's appropriate for their marketing plan. And so if you want to go ahead and stop sharing, Dave, I'll go ahead and take us to the web.
Okay. We'll let everyone see us full size for a couple of minutes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Nothing important. That's
Okay. Well, I'm trying to get to our website.
You're there. You just have to click on that. It's just
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So the first thing I want to show you are scheduled reports. You access scheduled reports by clicking on this reports tab. And this is a laundry list of scheduled reports that I've already generated in the demonstration account. What we want to do, though, is add a new scheduled report. So we'll go to the plus sign, because in SnailWorks, every time you see the plus sign, that means you're going to add something. We're going to add a report. And if you're familiar with the SnailWorks system, this is going to look a little bit familiar to you when you take it in. These are all the scheduled reports that we offer. They're categorized together, much like how the drop-down menu for reports are in a particular job. So the summary reports are really view by geography, view by date, view by user defined field. We offer some detail files that you can order as a scheduled report. The multi-job reports I'll talk about in a moment. A lot of power in those, particularly for mail service providers. Then, of course, the different performance reports. And then in this last column, I'm not going to talk a lot about exception reports, but contact myself or anyone on staff, and we can help you set this up. It is a nice tool. This is a report that gives you an email heads up if a mailing's not delivering within the window that you predetermine. It's easy to set up, and we can help you with that. And of course, ACS, this is where you would schedule your ACS reports. We'll look at that in a little bit. And I do want to talk about seamless reporting. I had told you I'd show you where those reports are. Once you've uploaded your files that we're going to check to see where they, what data we have on them, you'll just come into the scheduled reports section, just like what we just did. Come all the way over here to the lower right-hand area, and select what report you want, whether you want to get the detail or the summary or both. And you'll schedule it just like how I'm going to show on the multi-job report right now. So these multi-job summary reports, either by name or by SCF, we have a lot of users who get a lot of value out of those reports. But the one that I think is really the king is the daily delivery report. If I worked for a mail service provider, I would be getting that every day for jobs that I managed. I'd want to know what was going on with my clients' mail. So I don't know if you noticed when I clicked on that report, this report name populated and it brought over the name of the report. You can change that or you can customize it. I might call it Karen's Daily Delivery Report. And once we've made our selection and named it, we'll go ahead and click next. And this truly is the most complicated window or screen in setting up a scheduled report, and it's really not all that complicated. In the first window is a listing of the accounts, and what's highlighted is the demonstration account. That's my parent account. Underneath it, these are all of my sub accounts. Those are my clients. Now, if I wanted to create a scheduled report for just for the mailing company, I would click on them. They're now highlighted. And then there's a laundry list of all their jobs. Now, they only have one job, but most of your clients are going to have more than that. Today, though, what I want is I want all of the jobs for all of my clients. So I'm going to keep my parent account highlighted. I'm going to come over to the listing of jobs in this right-hand window. And I could cherry pick which jobs I want to schedule the scheduled report for, or I can select all. And since what I want is all, that's what I'm going to do. And I do get this pesky pop-up that asks me if I'm sure, and I really am sure that I want all of them. So I click yes. We come down here towards the bottom, and the date type, we can either get first scans or delivery scans. Most people are interested in what mail's being delivered. So we're going to stick with that. And this is where we define what an active job is. By default, the system's going to say anything 21 days after the drop date is going to be included in this report. You might say, you know what, within 15 days, my all the meaningful deliveries taking place, or whatever's appropriate for you. You can customize that anywhere from 1 to 45 days. So we've now said we're gonna get all of the jobs for all of our accounts. We want to look at the reporting based on delivery scan for anything that's within 15, from the day it dropped until 15 days to be included in this report. So we go to next, and we get to decide when do we want to receive this. If we just wanted once and done, we just wanted it right now, we would leave this run now. Or maybe we want to schedule this, I want to get this next week, so I want to go ahead and schedule it. This would give me this report on whatever date and time I picked in the future. But how this is used most often is to run on a daily cadence. And when we click Run Daily, we get the calendar out here on the right. By default, you're going to get this, it's defaulted towards getting nothing on the weekends, but at 10 o'clock each business day receiving the report. Now you might say, you know what, Saturday mornings, I definitely want to see what's going on with my mail tracking. And I can't blame you. Tracking on a Saturday morning's fun. You can also change the time of day. I do not suggest changing, getting your reports before 10 o'clock in the morning. Reason being is realize we get, the post office does most of their scan processing overnight. So in the morning, they're sending to us what they did overnight. And by 10 o'clock, we've received everything from Postal that they processed overnight. We've had an opportunity to load it into our system and update all your reports. So for any time after 10 o'clock is good. So we've picked our time. We're going to get this daily. We go to the next screen, and this is our last screen. By default, the system is going to send these emailed reports from the logged email associated with the login credentials that you use to come into the system, and going to send the report to that same person. Now, if I was sending a report to myself from myself, I would probably change that. your firewall is going to probably identify anything to you from you outside of your system as being a potential threat or something. So you can change this to customer service at snailworks.com, or even your personal email or some other email address. If you were sending it to your client, you would probably want to keep that as your address. And then you can decide who you want to send this to. I do want to receive this report, but I think Demo Dave wants it too. So I'm going to add him to the list. All I did was add a comma and type his email address, and I could keep adding people, but I'm not going to. This particular report, well, you get to choose how you want your report formatted. This particular report formats very nicely within an email. So that's what we default to. But you might say, well, I'd really rather have it as an Excel attachment. I might want to be able to sort some of the fields or manipulate it somehow. Not a problem. Just make that selection. Once you're happy with your selections, you click Save. And there we go. Our top report up here is Karen's daily delivery reports. And it tells us what accounts, who's getting it. Now that hasn't run yet. It's going to start running tomorrow at 10, and it's in its active status. And that's really all there is to scheduling a report. If you wanted to make an edit, if you wanted to change something, just change the edit pencil and click through to the screen that you want to make a change. Maybe you want to add someone to it. You could just add them and click Save, and that report's still there and it's been updated. The next thing that I wanted to do, I promised I was going to show you something about the tracking pearls. So I'm going to navigate to a job that I happen to know already has some data in it, but we'll pretend for a moment that it doesn't, that we want to get our tracking pearls. We would just navigate to this job exactly the way we just did. Bring the job up, come to the reports drop-down menu, and come all the way to the bottom, and that's where the tracking pearl links are located. The first option is generate tracking pearls. So we'd click on that, and there's our screen to enter the URL for our for the destination that you would build your tracking pearl. Click proceed, and then you would go ahead and we'd give you a link for receiving your file back. We're not going to do that because this job already has the pearls associated to it. But let's look at the reporting. And you can see when I come down to the reporting, here's a listing of all the people who have clicked on the QR code that was on their mail piece. We've got their name, their address information, as well as the date and time that they clicked on the QR code and the IP address that they came in at. Just by clicking this box, we can export it to Excel, and we'll have a nice Excel file, and then your client can begin selecting ones that they want to send another piece of mail to, or doing whatever it is that they would like to do with people who visited their website. See what I mean by it? It is silly simple in how you use this tool.
But it's really a great feature. I mean, we see a lot more QR codes on pieces now. I know I do in my personal mail, and most of them are generic. If you click on them, they're not personalized. And so imagine the power for your customers if when they click, they can find out exactly who's been coming to their website to do follow. You talk about retargeting or something. They can retarget with direct mail, email, any channel. Really, telemarketing depends on what the offer and what the product is. So it's just a very powerful tool. Very, very easy to use.
Absolutely. And pretty low cost too. Again, your rep can go over pricing options with you as to what the cost is. So with that, I am going to take a look at some ACS. I know Dave promised you we would do that. So this particular job I know has ACS associated with it, but as Dave showed us, we can see it too. It's in this column. There's got a yes. So we'll take a look at this. You come to the drop-down menu and you just come all the way down to about the middle, and that's where your ACS reporting lives. The first option is raw data. For the most part, you're not going to be too interested in this because we've taken the raw postal data and we've enhanced it to build these nice Dixie and COA reports. In the far left-hand columns, you're going to have the information that was contained in the barcode of the mail piece that you sent. And then you'll have the reasons as to why USPS was not able to deliver this piece of mail. You'll have a delivery code and a little explanation, the customer ID number, for the the unique ID number that's associated with the record, and then the name of the record. And of course, you have to share this ID record in your initial upload to us. And I strongly suggest doing that. Your database managers will really appreciate being able to match on ID number rather than trying to figure out name and address matches. And when you save that out, you'll have an Excel file that then the database manager can apply, these changes to. And again, you want to give some thought as to which records you want to remove from the file. Not, and looking at these, none of these look like they would be particularly helpful to keep mailing to. Sometimes sometimes you'll see something like no forwarding address left, like this, attempted not known. If you've got someone on staff, they may want to do some research on these people and see if they can get a better address. But in the meantime, you're better off just removing them and not continuing to mail to a record that can't be delivered. Your COA reports are very similar. You've got your barcode information, move type, and the deliverability code. Here we've got a little legend. You can click on this question mark and it gives you a legend as to what these codes mean. So the W, temporary change of address, no address, present, they were temporarily away. A lot of times on temporary moves, people don't make any changes in their database. If they mark it towards what they know are snowbirds, they may create some sort of a seasonal mail field for that person. Again, that's part of the strategy that you work up front. We provide all the old address information as well as the new updated. And you export this the same way you would your Nixie file. There's a little box off to the side that allows you to export this. And the ID number, the record ID number is included on your COAs also, again, making it very easy to update master files. The ACS summary report is a really quick, good tool just to get a real quick temperature read as to how many records you're receiving any ACS information on. As Dave explained, this job has 4 splits to it. So you've got information by split, and then the last line gives you your summary, all the splits added together. So in this job, and I happen to know the mail owner on this, and he does a real good job of keeping his list up to date, but he still managed to get a little over 2% of his file either had undeliverable, weren't delivered, able to be delivered at all, and 751 where he had some address changes. So there is a lot of value in keeping your job up to date. And while we're here, I do want to show you another way of navigating to your scheduled reports. you can go ahead and click on this scheduled report tool right here. If you're in a job and you think, oh, I'd like to schedule myself to receive a report for this job, you don't have to go all the way out to the reports tab. It's probably much quicker and easier just to click the scheduled report link, and it brings you to the same menu, you know, that we looked at earlier. You just come over to ACS. For ACS, you want that data export. I want to get NICSEs and you know, a file of my NICSEs and a file of my change of addresses. So I click that ACS data, and, you know, let's go ahead and name this also Karen's job. So it's name something a little bit more, you'd probably put your client's name in there. Now, this window looks a little bit different than what we looked at before. You still have your account name when we were in the demo account, so that's what's highlighted. Now, from a practical standpoint, if I was exporting ACS data, I'd want it for all of my jobs. And you come down to this little date range. You probably don't want to keep getting the same updates month after month on all of your jobs. So I know that the last time I got a report was on the 10th of October, because I always do this on the 10th. So that's what I want to start. I just want to get updates from the last time I did this through today. So I've defined my dates. I'm going to go next. This is an instance when I do want it now. So I keep that run now. Go to the next. I probably don't want to send this report to Chip, but I don't mind getting it from him. I must have entered this job with his credentials somehow. Getting it as an Excel file is exactly what I want. So all I need to do is click save. And here's my report up here at the top, my ACS data export for Karen. It's going to be all my jobs in my demo account, and it's going to come to me. Hasn't run yet, but when it does run and is delivered to me, I'll get a little, you know, this field will be populated.
Hey, Karen, we're hitting the top of the hour. I did have a couple of questions I wanted to
That's perfect. I've hit the end of what we wanted to show them. So this would be a good time to take questions.
If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the Q&A. We've got a couple up there now. One is there tracking for promotion codes if the mail piece has a variable code? So I'm assuming that's we could probably put that as an additional field in the tracking file. Then you could view by promotion code what the results were, what the delivery results were for that. So you can view it by promotion code. And if there's other ways we associate that too. So if that didn't touch exactly on what you're looking for, feel free to reach out to us, because there's a lot of ways we can associate with different codes. So, but if it's groups, if you know, some of the pieces are group 1, some are group 2, some are group 3, and they're all mixed together. If you identify those in a user-defined field, that'll take that. And someone, is there a fee for tracking pearls? There is, but it's not a lot. But there is it's surprisingly affordable, as we like to say. It's a high value product, but that's you know, if you're interested in that, if you reach out to either of us or to your project manager, I think we can help you with that. If you have any other questions, go ahead and throw them in. We are a little bit over time right now, but that's what power users do. They take time sometimes because we get into this.
Well, and Dave, I wanted to stress that as people have questions, they can reach out to yourself or myself. Dave's contact information is on the screen, as is mine. But truly the heroes at SnailWorks are customer service team. They're the ones who are going to help you enable any of these features that we've looked at today, and certainly can review with you any if there are any costs associated. Best reached customer service at snailworks.com, or you can choose to call our toll-free number 855-697-6245. Either way, however you choose to reach out to us, we will definitely be looking forward to that.
Or send us a letter, but I still like the mail.
It happens. It does happen. So with that, I definitely appreciate everybody's time and attention today. I hope you have an enjoyable rest of the afternoon.
Thank you.